Lance, can you hear me? Nope. Okay.
Okay, I guess Dalton started Merhan and Albert already. Here, I'll just put my thing down here. Set we go. Whatever you want to put on there. Thank you, sir. It's going. Good? Yep.
So, Dave, can you hear me? Did you notice Nick's comment about my sound sounding like I was far away? Just wondering if I talk closer to the mic, if it's better for the recording. So this is me far away, sitting back a bit. This is me closer. Better. And off we go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2024 BC Open Snooker Championships live here at Top 147 Snooker and Billiards Lounge in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. It's a semifinal match versus last year's winner, Albert Kenny, going against Alvin Chan. This one, I think, is going to be filled with fireworks. Both players, when they get in the balls, can score quite heavily. It's a best-of-5 match. It's David Burney in the booth, accompanied by David Putty. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing well. I've had a nice day so far out doing some things, and I get to do this afternoon, which is a wonderful way of whiling away a Sunday afternoon and watching some good snooker. So looking forward to it.
Great to hear. And Joe Policeman, referee Gary Spence will be at the table. And our other semifinal match is featuring Albert Lamb and Merhan Manashkar. We'll tune into them here and there, but this is our featured table right here.
So, David, I just got back to the computer, and how did Charlie end up doing?
Charlie battled hard. He was trailing 2-0 to Merhan and battled back to force a decider, but just ran out of gas in the decider.
Uh,
You might have clipped the pink there.
he did clip the pink, and this will be an interesting thing to see if he asks the referee to put the balls back. That would be a challenge in this case. Large number of reds moved. He's opting to put him back in, which is, of course, his option to do so.
Well, smart decision there by Alvin, forcing the in off, and 4 points to the good for him. And we are live on Snooker Canada's YouTube page. Feel free to chime in if you have any comments or questions, and let us know what you're tuning in for, or if you want to show your support for either player. I'm pretty sure they'll hear it through the Ethernets and all that stuff. So we're glad that you're tuning in wherever you are. Just got to give a shout out to Jimmy Kenny and Mama Kenny, who are watching all the way from Ireland, tuning in to see brother and son Albert, see if he can hoist the trophy once again. Flirted with the in off again, but
Almost. Bit of a rough start for Albert, but we know it won't throw him off. He's more than capable of recovering from that.
yeah, first glance doesn't seem anything really great there for Alvin.
Might have been one in the side by the one by the pink, but that'd be pretty aggressive to take that shot this early on in the match. And his weight is pretty good on that safety. You got it down into the bulkhead, not quite frozen to the bottom rail, but and I am attempting to keep up the stats on this one for general review after each frame. That was a nice safety that he played from a fairly tough position. Got the cue ball to figure eight all the way back to the bulk. Possibly the same shot here. Just has to be careful not to run into the blue on the way back.
Yeah, large respect that both these players have for each other, knowing one faulty safety might lead the opponent in and they might be sitting for quite a while. Well, that might be the chance for a high run. Albert Kenny in his quarterfinal match achieved the high run of the tournament so far at 75.
75, yeah. I was actually watching that. He did very well and missed a red, or was it the black at the 75? I think it was one that he was trying to break out the red on the side rail. That was he was playing it off the black. So quite distracted possibly by the intent of the cue ball after he made it. Possibly a little difficult to get good position off this, depending on how much movement he can get on the cue ball right away. Yeah. You can steer the cue ball through bulk without a kiss. He's done that.
Looks like it's going to come up onto the black spot as the pink is covered. When a colored ball goes down, it usually has its spots to go on, but when they are covered, it goes to the highest point value available. And in this case, the pink finds the black spot.
And from this camera angle, it looks like the pink will pretty easily go into that left corner pocket. Or he may come back for the blue here. That was a very nicely executed shot. He got to the lower side of the table for the blue, so he can just make position much more easily on this next red. And he played that with thought of playing this next red to be able to get on the pink, I think, is what he's trying to do. Nope. Likes the blue ball. Again, onto the right side of the blue. So he's showing some pretty good cue ball control here.
Yeah, no harm having blue balls in this game. You can rack up some points pretty quick, as the blue is worth a nice 5 points.
Again, it looks like he just got to the right side of the blue to be able to bring the cue ball back up to the reds. Albert seems to have a very well-established pre-shot routine. I want to say it's right down even to the number of feathers that he takes. It's either 4 or 5 feathers. There's 4. Stays down on the shot. Nice and smooth. His walk-in is the same each time. I wonder if your $100 is at risk here, David.
It's always a little nervy when Albert Kenny gets to the table. As well with Alvin Shan and even Albert Lamb and Merhan, the last 4.
Okay. I'm beginning to think that pink doesn't go into that left corner. Just the way he played that shot.
Yeah, he was stuttering a little bit in the beginning of his quarterfinal match, but Albert definitely has found some form now and carried it over into the semifinal. You know, a lot of the time we see the pros do this. Oh, one visit frame clearance. Sometimes in the amateur game you get a few chances, but it's quite possible that Alvin might be sitting until the next frame.
There are certainly still lots of points on the table, but probably about two or three more reds and colors would tie that up pretty well. 37-point lead at this point in time, so this may be shaped for another black in the side, depending on the angle, which we can't really see. Tried to get it back to the corner. If he rolls this in pocket weight, he'll have that red on the right-hand side into the same corner.
Ooh, and off. Well, let's see how Alvin can respond to that. Just trailing by 31 points. Many reds. Obviously, that cluster of three on the left side of the table is going to be an issue. Maybe just eyeing this plant, possibly. Very tricky, left of the pink.
Depending how much power he has in his stroke, it may just be the safety off the one by the pink, to the right of the pink, or trying this one down the side and pulling the cue ball back. And a bit of a breakout here. Not too bad. Fairly good lead. Again, anytime you go to a power stroke of any kind, you tend to lose the technical part of it. And it's quite easy to hit a ball. He missed that ball by about 8 inches from the corner pocket. And that's not unusual to do that. It's a well executed out. Albert will definitely not be trying to break those three reds out on the left-hand side. Alvin would love to see them come loose. They've both been leaving each other quite a bit down on that bottom rail. Good test of their safety ability.
Yeah, and pretty tight to that ball cushion, but that might have been a little hiccup there by Albert. It's not an easy part for Alvin, but when you have cue ball as close to the object ball, it makes it a little bit more easy rather than having a large distance going from cue ball to object ball.
This is a nice mid-range starter ball for Alvin. If he makes this, blue shape is pretty much guaranteed. Might come up for pink, but probably blue. Yeah. Now those three reds on the left rail become really important. So he's looking at where he wants this cue ball now to be able to play the pink in and move the cue ball towards those three reds.
Yes, Alvin originally from Hong Kong, where the game is very popular. His father does a lot of great work over there to promote the great game. Eric does, or Alvin plays a lot out of Eric's club, the Star Snooker Club. They were great help to make this tournament a success on Friday and Saturday, as they had three tables and we had a whopping 48 players in the round robin. So we needed all the tables we could get our hands on.
I was a little surprised on that one that he didn't take the opportunity to move those reds, but it's easier playing it from the booth.
I never miss a shot from here, David. It's got a good angle to develop that one loose red over on the right cushion.
Would have liked to have slightly less contact with the red on that, so it would have sat over the side. But a nice breakout just the same. He's being very precise about the point of contact he wants on this red. Not quite.
Oh, decent 20 break has got him back into this first frame. Best of 5, only trailing by 11. 59 points on the table.
Albert choosing to keep control of the table by playing safe there instead of playing maybe a 50-50 shot with the rest into the left corner of the yellow ball pocket. Bit of a shot to nothing here if Alvin takes this on. He does try it. It shouldn't come too close. The cue ball shouldn't come too close to the side pocket. Just missed it. And a great leave. So what the referee is using there is a kind of a sewing chalk of some kind. I have one in my kit as well. And it just puts a tiny little white mark on the table so that if this does have to get put back, he knows exactly where it is. So hard enough. Yep.
Yeah, with these cloths made of wool, not a bad idea to go to your local sewing shop to get one of those tailor's pencils that David is alluding to. As well, they supply the lace and some darning needles you need to sew the leather onto these pockets, as you can see on the bottom of the screen.
Actually, the local Walmart has them.
Hmm.
That's where I got mine.
Very nice, forcing Alvin to disturb these three reds on the left side of the table.
With an 11-point lead, you want to be careful what you leave right now. The general ability of both of these players. Well, he got away. Nicely done.
Yeah, the audience is growing in here, knowing that we're getting close to the final, so a good round of applause for that last safety shot for Alvin coming from the crowd.
This hit well could have the cue ball right behind the black and brown. Not quite the right angle, but great speed on the safety.
Hello to Mac Hoyen tuning in on the stream. Yeah, feel free to share your comments and concerns on the chat, on the stream. Always a good place for many debates. Many things have been discussed over the years on the chats, whether it's Strachan or Strawn, what's the correct pronunciation, is asking the ref to clean the cue ball too much, too many times, is that an issue?
The safety battle continues here.
Yeah, it's just got to be mindful of the yellow that he's queuing over, so referee Spence will have to have a good look, as you can see referee Spence in your top left corner. Looked like Albert's leaving nothing to chance. Gonna pull out the rest.
For some players, that is leaving it to chance. Counting on a good cue ball here. Looks like he's probably left it on. You know, if Alvin chooses to take it. There's some danger attached to it. cue ball would be going into the other three reds. More likely to play a safety off the third one from the left there. Cue ball back down table. Again, proven wrong.
That's a huge confidence booster right there. Unfortunately, he's not on a nice color to continue the break.
Depends how far off the rail that yellow is. This could be a nasty snooker if it's one off the rail, but I think he would have played that shot by now if that was on. Came up short. Well, Albert just gave Alvin another 4 points on an unforced error.
Interesting that Alvin's putting him back.
There's a bit of left-hand siding here. That pink's not in the way. All the colors down at the other end. I can almost understand why he would take that. But only 6 points left in this now. So Albert's nice run from earlier is still holding up, but only just.
Very nice long red. Hopefully can get an angle. Well, take the black and come off the bulk cushion to come back down table.
Make sure to miss the brown off that rail.
Yeah, the one thing that the commentator in the last match, Race and Adele, kind of noticed that if there was one kink in the armor with Albert, it might be his rest play.
Okay. You must just be able to see the left side of that red.
Oh, it's really thin there.
Nicely done if he misses the blue, which he has. Has the red stopped in time, or can he make that? You're in the room a little closer than I am. Does it look like it's cuttable?
It looks like it's there, that's for sure.
Okay.
Might have gone close to the jaw. Does he try some finesse and come up and down the table? Come off the top cushion?
It's not a shot you'd see most people play in knockout rounds of a tournament, but if that's his best shot on. He's coming at it directly.
Oh, just missed. Alvin's going to come take a look to see if he's going to put him back. Or is Alvin going to try and come up and down table?
I think the only one of the pros that I've ever seen try this shot, and he did make it, was Sean Murphy. And the crowd went crazy because it's not a common shot.
Well, definitely not in a championship, but in a local exhibition, this is bread and butter for those top players.
Looks like he's coming one rail, maybe. You know. Okay. At least he made sure he hit it. That was the main thing there. Quite often, if you just watch the player when he strikes the ball, you can tell if it's going to go in or not. And he struck that one very well.
Yeah, if he had missed, he'd probably be halfway back to his seat before the balls even gave it a chance. But looks like we're going to be coming down to the colors like we do so many times in the amateur game. So a 4-point advantage for Albert Kenny, 50 to 46, 35 points on the table. It's the first frame of the semifinal action, best of 5. Winner will move on to the finals that is scheduled to start at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
It's an interesting stat, just what we were talking about before, where it goes down to color balls so often. It would be an interesting stat to see in the professional game how many times it goes down to the colors. Probably not as much as in the amateur game, because those players are much more capable of getting on and running tables much more than the amateurs. But it probably happens more on the professional levels than we think as well. The game is sort of set up for that because all the points are heavy loaded right at the end of the frame, with each color ball being worth more points than the reds. That's a hard ball to overcut. And now the yellow ball in the tight position it is on that rail comes into play. The rest of them are not in standard positions, but relatively makeable, particularly the brown ball. Good wait for the pink.
Yeah, it'd be a great steal for Alvin, as Albert really was coming out guns a-blazing. Oh, just as I say that pink is not wanting to find the bottom of the pocket.
And we go back to how hard do you have to hit a ball and how much technique do you give up in the attempt to hit a ball hard. hit.
I think this
When you're in
yellow
that
can.
position where you need to get all the way down table, you just either decide to cinch the pink or get close to where you're going, or be willing to take the risk of hitting it with power and surrendering to whatever result you get.
Lovely shot there by Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Got a nice snooker with that 8 of the green there. I almost thought there might have been a pathway for that yellow
I think the blue's in the way.
on the previous shot, just
Oh,
getting
okay, yeah.
past that brown into the green pocket. But he knows the right shot to take. He's down on the table.
That's your right hand siding. So at this point, Albert would need the colors up to the blue, and Alvin needs up to the pink, up to and including the pink. Great way of playing that to get positioned. Very nicely done.
Yeah, I think yellow was the toughest shot of this little break that he could take on to win the frame.
Alvin has just taken the lead since the fouls on the first couple of shots. Nice. He's giving himself a chance here. He's taking his time.
Good blue, but still
Yeah.
he's making it tough on himself, as you
He,
can
he
see.
didn't commit to getting to pulling that back far enough for great position on the pink. All of his concentration, I think, went into making the blue ball.
But he can get behind the black here.
Oh, okay.
Just a little pacey, and you can just see the body language right there on your screen, just deflated as he had a chance to steal this first frame.
Now, if Albert could find a way to make this pink with some pace, he comes down 2, maybe 3 rails and has perfect black into the green pocket.
And that just went terribly wrong for the Irishman that lives in Calgary. Should be a rudimentary pink for Alvin to take this first frame.
And it's in, and that's the frame.
So Alvin takes that frame 66 to 50, and we'll be right back with frame two. And in the interim, we'll turn it over to David Putty with some stats on this first frame.
Let me just see if I can pull that up. And we have, oops, just have getting my system here to work. There we go. We have potting success of 85% for Albert, 81 for Alvin, 82% positional for Albert, 52% safety for Albert, shot time 28 seconds, and table time was 50-50. Positional play for Alvin was 66%, and safety actually was 87%. And that may be something that was the big difference at the end of the game, is that as much as he gave a few chances away by not making balls he would otherwise make, he was successful in playing the safeties when he needed to. So gives you an idea. Again, very unofficial. I'm doing this while doing commentary and kind of tracking score as well. So well done in the first game for Alvin. And we'll be back in a minute with the second frame.
And welcome back to frame two of this semifinal match between Alvin Chan, set to break off, going against Albert Kenny. It's the 2024 BC Open Snooker Championship, live here at Top 147 Billiards and Snooker Lounge in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. It's David Burney in the booth alongside David Putty. We're glad you're tuning in. We're on Snooker Canada's YouTube page. Feel free to pipe in any comments or questions you have, or let us know where you're tuning in, or give your support. We know Albert's got some fans back in Ireland that are cheering him on, and we'll see if he can rebound after losing that heartbreaking first frame.
He did have a pretty significant lead early on, having put I think a 39-point run together, something like that. And all of a sudden he was behind the 8 ball, having given up a number of points along the way. Kind of Alvin chipped away at the lead as opposed to taking it in one run.
I hope this is going to be interesting. If someone's to falter on this safety exchange, black definitely goes to the top right. Just not sure if it goes to the top left. Just about that red that's near the top left.
It's an interesting way that Albert is choosing to play these safeties early on, in that he's opening up the balls. So he's feeling pretty confident that he can get in and run some balls. And so he's willing to open the pack up. There was another way he could have played that safety that would have kept the pack intact. He chose not to do that, I think because he feels he's going to have the stronger potting game than Alvin. Or maybe that's just the way he plays. Wants the reds open all the time. But in the previous game, I think it was Albert that opened up the pack as well.
Yes, shadows of Stephen Hendry, as he'd like to get the reds opened up a lot sooner than later, not play that tippy-tap kind of game, bust open the reds, and then plow through and make one of his patented many century breaks.
think he's still second in all the century runs next to Ronnie. Although, no, I think Judd Trump's passed him now as well. Because Judd's into the 900 range for century breaks. And I think Hendry's was 776, I think. It's another good safety. He's putting pressure on Alvin with these positional safeties.
Ooh, Gwynny's left a chance for Albert. Yeah, it must be tough for obviously Stephen Hendry. His goal was to have more world titles than Steve Davis, his hero, and Ray Reardon, who had 6. So Stephen Hendry made 7, and then after that, he kind of like you turn off the gas a little bit. You've done your accomplishments, and he also was finding it tough to put in the hours of practicing. But still, a legend of the game.
And then someone by the name of Ronnie comes along and takes away all your records.
And I think there's going to be someone that's going to take away Ronnie's records as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He
I
might not
think
have been
Ronnie's
born yet.
coming close to 1,300 century runs now. And Judd's in just under 1,000, I think. So look out. Nope. Oh, did that roll behind the knuckle?
No, that is okay.
Okay. You can
Albert
see
did
it
not
from the
get the
booth.
angle.
Still a very good safety. Just got out. Nicely done. Nice little shot to nothing here. He takes it. He may just play safe. Alvin may be getting a little tired of that bottom rail at this point. Needs to miss the rail. Okay.
Well, not an elementary starter there for Albert, but still a chance to potentially get a red in and maybe come up for the blue.
A little hampered on that ball. He chooses to play it. Quite a bit hampered. Okay, nicely done. Held up just in time for that brown. There's nothing obvious to go for that leaves him really good guaranteed position on anything. So he may just opt for a safety here. Thank you, Lloyd, for the accurate count on Ronnie's centuries. We're 1,243. So he's heading for 1,300 probably by the end of this season at least.
That could be a costly miss there by Albert.
Yeah.
He's left Alvin a couple of options for reds and colors. Yes, Alvin that played in the autumn edition of the Canadian Snooker League out here actually ran a century in one of his frames, so he definitely knows what to do once he gets in stride.
Checking where he wants this cue ball to be so he can get the black. Black on the spot for the standard positioning or what everybody plays for putting runs together. Nicely done. The balls are certainly open and waiting.
Ooh. Dejected, frustrated, and annoyed.
Fair amount of head movement on that one. Now the table is turned in terms of opportunity. You always feel bad when you miss a black or miss a black at all, particularly blacks off the spot because they practice so much. But to be in this position and have missed that black, he's going to be sitting in his chair thinking about that a little bit. The one thing I like about Albert's game is that his pace around the table stays the same all the time. There's no frenetic pumping of the cue before shots. It's all just down to business. And again, the 4 or 5 feathers, the
Nice little stun run through. Very difficult shots. The stun run, the stun draw.
when I do teach, one of the things that I work on is something called thumb to chest. And it's just a position where your cue finishes the shot every time. And Albert has that spot. So nothing ever changes dramatically in his stroke. And that helps build the consistency that we're all looking for in this game.
Well, we have seen this before that Albert has come out with a substantial break and then kind of broke down. So that might be a little bit in the back of his mind. Doesn't want to give Alvin a chance.
Nicely done. So we may just roll this cue ball towards the right rail for the red in the side, opposite side. Yeah, nicely done. He has a reasonable angle for this one. Yep.
Yeah, just beaming with confidence now. All the balls are finding the bottom of the pockets. He's putting his cue ball exactly where he wants it. Probably going to go for this lower of the two reds to come off the cushion. Got a decent flick.
Not great, but okay. The way he's hitting them right now, I like his chances of making this pink. Came up short and
Ooh.
safe. So he has a handy 46-point lead with 59 left on the table. Well, it's not a hook, but it's almost as good.
True. Queuing over that yellow is just a trifle annoying.
Especially if there's any expectation of accuracy on this.
Oh, what a
Or,
pot.
or just knock it in. Nice telling safety if he plays yellow and rolls the cue ball in behind the green on the rail. Nope, heading for the blue ball.
This is his frame ball.
Nicely done. So 52-point lead with 51 on the table. He certainly is in control of this frame now. Make sure he doesn't have a belly buster foul there. The interesting thing with that safety that he just played, it was actually really smart. He didn't try and get the cue ball all the way down the table because he would have had to hit it too hard and the red would have possibly gone over the right-hand pocket. So he just played the red safe and left the cue ball in the middle of the table. That black being down the table is also very handy for Albert.
Ooh, he might go off.
Oh,
Not intended, but sometimes you got to get the rolls.
we may see a concession here. 53 points with 43 on the table. Not yet.
Yeah, potentially if this was like a best of 11 match, there might be a concession there, but when it's rather shorter sprints that are best of 5, hopefully as the game continues to regrow in Canada, we can have some of maybe of those long form matches. But we're up against time. They were allowed into these lovely rooms. They really are beneficial to the game of growing in Canada. We appreciate Jonathan Sun, owner and operator of Top 147 right here, and as well Eric Lee, who runs the Star Snooker Club. Both clubs helped to make this tournament a great success.
The other thing, of course, with playing on here is with 43 points on the table, if he were to get a snooker and get a free ball, then he's back to as if there were 3 reds on the table. So I do understand him playing on. Depending on the position, this could be a nice hook behind the green and the blue for each of the reds. Which he has succeeded at. Needs to be done. Of course, this wouldn't be a foul and miss situation because of the point spread.
Yeah, clever shot. Taking that red, he's got the black. And now he's got that one red, as David alluded to, the potential free ball situation.
That will be a nice snooker. Not much of a chance of a free ball here. If the red ball was down by the vault colors, there'd be a higher chance, but and we may see that come up now. You may try this behind the yellow or pull it back a bit and try and get it behind the brown and blue. Try and behind the yellow. Very nice. with it this close to the black, of course, there's always a chance that Albert might hit the black if he misses the red. So a foul of 4.
Alvin needs a couple more of those snookers.
Probably try between behind the brown and blue again here. And he, very nicely done. Just the edge of it is available. Not that Albert would be worrying yet, but he's going to be thinking about it. Alvin has played 3 or 4 hooks out of all the ones that he's tried so far. So he's very capable of getting the snooker. Again, trying to get it thin hit and right behind the brown and blue again.
Just unfortunate that he cannoned into that yellow. It's brought the yellow up into a good snooker spot, but this long red is on for Albert.
And
Yeah, I think he put all his eggs in his basket there. He's got to be mindful as well of the more than 3 snookers to win. It is a concession. And that should probably do it here.
49. Perfect little kiss, just in case.
Won't
And
mean
now
much, so there's a concession there. So Albert Kenny takes the second frame by a scoreline of 70-19 to tie this best of 5 match. 1 frame apiece. Important third frame coming up. As the winner of that will take a 2-1 advantage and be 1 frame away from the final of this 2024 BC Open Championship. Do want to give a little shout out. I hear through the airwaves that we've got some friends tuning in from across the pond. One of the most fantastic hosts of the snooker scene, or not the snooker scene, my apologies, the Talking Snooker podcast, Nick Metcalf, chime in, and maybe his counterpart, Phil Haig, as well. But Nick, good to hear from you through communicative correspondence. Glad that you're enjoying the snooker all the way from Canada, where we are, as you're turning in from England. I had a lot of fun being a guest on the Talking Snooker podcast with Phil and Nick, and I know I was chucking it up a little bit with them, doing a little Michael Caine impersonation. But when I see you in Sheffield this year, Nick, I've been working on my Nick Metcalf impersonation, so I'll have to let you know how that goes when I see you over there. And oh, it's almost about a month away. We're in mid-March almost, and obviously the qualifiers for the World Championship starts early April, and then 420, April 20th, is when that journey begins for the players to become the world champion of snooker. So, David, do you have any stats from that second frame?
I do, but on the thought of the World Championships, I was there last year, but unfortunately my schedule doesn't allow me to get there this year. So you'll have to represent Canada well in this one. But so stats wise, Albert leads 88 to 81% in pots. Long potting, one of two, and actually I don't have Alvin on long pots on that one. Positional play 79, he leads over 64 to Alvin on that one. Safeties, he's behind 67 to 78. And shot time 25 seconds versus 31, and almost 50-50 time on the table. So it's the stats are kind of representing how the match is going. Albert had more time on the table on that one because of the run that he put together. Other than that, we're 50-50 pretty much. So as it should be, I guess. Seems they've taken a bio break, something here. Or...
Yeah, referee Spence has just excused himself for a
Uh,
brief moment, and when he comes back, we will get frame 3 underway.
and we have begun. The breakoff has happened.
Yes, Babak Rafi tuning in. This is a good game. Lots of excitement. It was a thrilling semifinals last year between Albert and Charlie Brown. A lot of ups and downs and just really, really good snooker. Lots of high breaks and tactical play, which we've had in this one as well. And it looks like it's a nail biter as well in our other semifinal match between Albert Lamb and Merhan Manashkar. Just trying to get a score line. I know someone is up 1-0, but they're losing in the second frame. But once I see who's on the side of the scoreboard, I can report back more accurately of who's winning in that match. But in this match, it's 1-1.
Very nice pot. What I have seen with both of these players that they are willing to take the shot on when it's there, and they are both very capable of playing a safety game. So they have the full package. This will be an interesting as it comes closer to a finish. It'll be interesting to see who has their head above water.
Now, is he going to slam it in the pink and open up those cherries like a sundae?
Yes. Oh no.
Oh, what a fantastic blue. Open up the reds, just opening it up a bit too much as a red found the bottom of the pocket.
It's always a risk when you play that breakout shot. He did seem to take a look at the pack to see if anything was an automatic combination if he hit it, but quite often it's just a random carom off another ball, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. And that's exactly what happened there.
All right, viewing audience, Alvin thinks about this shot. Everyone knows I do enjoy some movies from time to time, but I put it all out to you. The question of the day, as some people know this question, who wins in a snooker match? Lee Marvin or Jack Palance? And go. David, did you want to chime in first?
Oh, you always do these reference or these movie references on me, and I always look like a fool at the end because I don't watch movies the way you do, David.
Well,
So, but I
it's
should know that one. I'm going to go Jack Palance,
okay.
and it's a pure guess.
Sounds good. It's not a reference, and it's completely hypothetical.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't
I
even know that.
I don't even know if they've played the game. I do know that there has been some photos that have surfaced online of Lee Marvin playing pool at the Playboy Mansion, and Jack Palance was in a movie entitled "Kill of the Dragon," where I just saw one picture of it. I haven't seen the movie, but he's standing at a pool table with a beautiful woman. So that's what I'm going on. But it's completely hypothetical, just something to think about.
So this time you caught me on a movie reference that didn't even exist.
Nope, just a bit of fun. Guess we didn't have the angle to run through there and be on the black, so Albert electing for second place. The pink. It's got a
It looks
little.
like he played it perfectly. That fine control of 1 inch either way is good or bad depending on what you're after. And he hit that one really well to hold that line for the pink in the side. Choice of either playing for the black or the blue off of that red, or possibly pink in the side off this one.
Yeah, nice little
It's
cannon
nicely
there.
done.
Fortunately, pushed a little red safe onto the right cushion, but opened up some reds.
So that shot might have saved you $100, is what you're saying, Dave?
Maybe, maybe. Yeah, I'd like to send my children to university, but it seems like Albert's kind of putting a block on that, taking away all their scholarship funds.
Looks like he has a red to the side, left middle pocket, or a green ball in the end. He has decided that he is on stroke and he's going to go for these shots. It's nice to see. Doesn't like his bridge. So he'll probably change his mind on the blue, to the blue. There's a thought about taking what the table gives you. And I think that blue ball shot was exactly that. Pink would have been the better positional shot, but much less likely to make it. So you take what the table gives you and then play a mid-range pot perfectly, back on the pink in a much better position.
Don't think he came enough for that lower red in the group of four in the middle. Yeah, a decent 35 run there for Albert Kenny to increase his lead to 40-1 in this third frame, best of five. Let's see if Albert can start up the car and get it out of the garage and go for a nice Sunday drive and put up a substantial break.
Roll up or continuation? I don't think he got position on that red. I think he's okay.
Yeah, Alvin will have a pathway back to the bulk area. Clipping off this rightmost red of the four in the middle of the table.
And the last thing Albert wants here is that red over by the right-hand middle pocket to come off the rail. He'll leave that there as long as he possibly can. And there's another shot to nothing for Albert.
Yeah, you might be right, Herbert. Herbert's tuning in, feeling as he's watching, seems like the tables might be a bit slow. And we are in an active snooker room here, so there's always a lot of action, and obviously with the cost of maintenance fees and cloths, we don't have the luxury of reclothing a table for these championships. But you never know what the future can hold. We talked at length yesterday of potentially, putting some events in hotels with their conference rooms, but it takes dollars and cents to set up these tables.
nice containment safety. He kept it simple. Didn't try to force anything. Probably trying for behind the green ball here. Now the black is in an interesting position for playing the safety back to bulk, because it'd be quite easy to crash into that black ball after contact with the red. So he's giving it some additional thought. Super thin would be ideal. Okay.
Yeah, it's very fortunate they just missed the black, but canned full face into the blue. But on first glance, it seems like Albert got away with it.
This might be the red coming off the rail on the side. That would be the safety shot. But then you have to get the red safe.
And just an update, it looks like Merhan Manashkar is up 2 frames to 0 in their semifinal match. They're just about to get going in frame 3. That's a
Well,
shot Albert wanted to have back. And a couple shots time, if Alvin can get the pink or black back on its spot, he'd be quite happy with that.
mm-hmm. This may just be a cue ball down for the brown, green, or blue, and then come back up off of that for the next red. Yeah, I was thinking. Green might be easier here to get up for the red, but he wants the blue back in the middle of the table so that he has it as an option as he continues the run.
True, definitely going to need a lot of cue power here to bring the cue ball back down to the top end of the table.
Nicely done. That little kiss may have helped him quite a bit. Or position on the pink for the next shot. But he certainly hit the blue well. Without hitting it hard, he got a lot of action on that cue ball.
Yeah, sometimes I got to play the more difficult shot as it will pay dividends a little later on. And I think that goes back to that blue that Alvin had with the rest. As we talked about the green being much easier to get down, but now that he's got the blue ball in the middle of the table with the pink and black on the side cushions respectively, it's a bit easier to play for that blue. Ooh. Just as we mapped out your plan to
Your
Graceland
road to
there, Alvin.
success. Yeah. And for all players, and Albert's putting himself kind of in the same position of you're just stretching for that ball just a bit. And you think you can play it and it won't affect. And then all of a sudden your arm can't come through straight because you're so stretched out. And quite wisely, Albert went to get his extension where he can be much more comfortable in his stance with his left leg up on the table, nice and solid. And he's there. Can't see from here, but it looks like he might have wanted an extra 2 or 3 inches on draw on that ball. It looks fairly straight from here. He's just going to run this cue ball through, not able to bring it up table at all. What I like about how he played that shot, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, he feathers each and every shot 4 or 5 times. And even on a shot as simple as a straight in blue that was, he feathered 5 times. That was a fairly key ball.
Just tight corner pockets here on these Rasson tables. They were newly installed this year at Top 147 Snooker and Billiards Lounge. Let's see if Alvin can punish him and get back into this third frame, a pivotal one, as the winner will be one frame away from getting into the final of the 2024 BC Open Snooker Championships.
Keep in mind as this frame moves forward, that red and pink that Albert would have made would have given him a 42-point lead. It's now 35, and Alvin is going to be knocking this down pretty quick, assuming success on these positional pots.
Wasn't the easiest shot in the world. So we'll clip off this red by the black and get into the bulk area for Albert.
He does not want to disturb this black off the red.
Oh,
You don't see that very often.
Yet the red will not come back up onto the table. If it was a colored ball that left the table, it definitely would come back up. But much in
And
the
that's
fashion
something that, sorry, go ahead, David.
and how it was struck, it was on the table, just rattled in the jaws, and then just popped up. So it wasn't that he hit the ball in such a fashion that drove it off the table. So just one of those rare occurrences that we
Yeah,
see in this game. But it might be a red that Alvin needs. So we'll see how
that's
things
the
play out.
key issue there, is that he needs all three. He needed all three reds on the table to really have more of a chance. And now with only two on, he's still in the game, but he needs to. Yes, one less thing that can go wrong.
Sensational long pot there. Played it with an element of safe. Obviously, as you can see, he's run back into the bulk and just might clip off this screen to get behind the brown.
That would leave him with 31 points behind. So foul and a miss would still be in play. Exactly what he's done. Two rails from behind would be the plan, maybe. Yep. Well, the steal is on. I'm wondering if the pink from the last frame is in his mind at this moment. See how he plays this.
And has it run enough? I think it's just come up a little short. Yeah.
Body language says it's just a little short. I wonder if one day jump shots will come into snooker. They are allowed and legal and a skill that exists in pool games, but as yet has not transferred to snooker. Probably a good idea that it doesn't.
I think every room owner in the world just cringed at that comment, David, as jump
Yep.
shots can lead to ripped cloth. So
That one just found its way in.
that was his frame ball there. Wouldn't mind the green and the brown just to make a certainty of it. Albert just having a quick glance at the scoreboard.
That glance at the scoreboard was whether he would be able to hit that with draw to play shape or just play the pot. Now he has the freedom to. And we'll see at 29 points with 22. It's hard
Just
not being in the room, but it looks like Alvin is a little disenchanted. His energy seems to be different now.
Oh, Nico Zenas is enjoying the coverage all weekend, loving the snooker while he's getting ready. A Sunday roast. Well, hey, where's the invite? I'll be right over after the final. Nothing wrong
And
with a Sunday roast.
that's the end of frame two. Concede end frame.
So Albert Kennedy takes that one to lead 2 frames to 1 in this best of three match. Let's see how Alvin Chan can respond when we return momentarily with the fourth frame. Daniel Cloth, thanks for tuning in from London. So, the format of this tournament, we started off with 48 players in a round robin fashion. There were 12 groups, 4 players per group, and each winner of the 12 groups would move on to the knockout round that consisted of 16 players. And there were 4 spots taken by players that have won qualifiers earlier in the year. So Alvin actually was one of those qualify winners. So he got a spot in the knockout, didn't have to play in the round robin. And the round robin phase was best of 3 matches. Then we moved into the first round. The quarterfinals and the semi are best of 5s, and then the final will be a best of 7. If you have any other questions, feel free to chime in, but appreciate your questions. That's what we're here to do, to answer them for you. And Alvin Chan needing this frame to force a decider, but Albert Kennedy definitely wants to get this one done and dusted and get into a final and try and defend his championship with honor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little missed safety there by Albert.
First opportunity to Alvin on this one. You have to carry him into the black. Controlling those caroms from red to black can be a little difficult. And that one he just He hit two square.
Hello, Larry Anderson. Thanks for chiming in. Larry is a great supporter of all Q sports, whether it's snooker, 8 ball, 9 ball, 10 ball, 1 ball, 1 pocket, corner pocket. He's all over the map. Loves his Q sports, and we're really happy that he always is willing to help us out. But I think we've donned a title for you, Larry. You're going to be the ambassador of the blue ball off the spot shootout. As Larry came in the room just as that was getting started, donning a very wonderful baby blue sweater. Very apropos. Simo, thanks for tuning in all the way from Finland. Yeah. Robin Hall, a great player from Finland. It's kind of maybe fallen off the radar a little bit, but just goes to show you how tough it is to be on the pro circuit. But nice to see that a player came from Finland, and I think that's what the sport really needs. You know, we need to get some Canadians back on the tour. I'm pretty sure Ahmad Ali from America has inspired some young Americans to pick up a cue, as Robin Hall probably inspired some Finnish kids to take up cue sports.
It would be wonderful to get that next young Canadian junior up and ready for the World Snooker Tour. It's been a dream of mine to get to find that talent and help it along, but so far nobody's standing out yet.
Well, I think it might be the next generation. I think as a lot of people are finding their way back into snooker in Canada, or just getting into it, they might be a little bit older, but at that age of maybe thinking about having children, and they might pass on their love to a youngster. And now hearing that we're really fostering the game in Canada with great tournaments, great coaching outlets. And fortunately, right now, it's obviously you've got to be over in Britain, but they're getting more and more tournaments around the globe.
This is a pretty tough position for Albert here. Maybe he's looking at two rails into the back of the pack. Kind of leaving it a little bit. Oh, this one. Okay, nicely done.
Yes, Simo, feel free to let us know what the scene is like over in Finland. If you're right there in Helsinki or you're one of the other towns of that Scandinavian country.
Mm. Bit of an adventurous shot here when there's any number of safeties to be played. But maybe he just thinks it's time to take advantage of an opportunity.
Yeah, sometimes you're not going to be gifted an opportunity. You got to grab it by the horns.
Yeah.
And good to hear the Kenny clan is tuning in all the way from Ireland. Glad you're enjoying the snooker, the commentary, and all the great action here at the BC Open. And Simo was telling us a lot of people play 8 ball over in Finland, but he's seen some growth. It's growing more and more. Any friends out there on the stream, I'd love to see some of you over in Sheffield. So if you're over for the World Championships, definitely we should say hello, catch up, and regale of great snooker stories that we've seen.
Making the blue here gets it back on in the middle of the table and more useful for putting together some runs. Just needs to avoid the green ball coming up off that rail. And he should be in good position.
Just curious how much practice maybe Alvin has spent over here. He does play a lot over at the Star Snooker Club that helped us run the tournament, but everyone was aware that it would be funneled down to a finals over here at Top 147. However, Albert Kenny is coming all the way from Calgary, so he hasn't had a lot of time to practice on the tables.
The one thing with that, though, David, is that a miss like that doesn't really have anything to do with the table. He had a ball that was about 2 feet away from a pocket, and he's got to be 90% on making that shot. So it's not a table speed or anything like that that causes him to miss that. It's, I think, a momentary lack of focus. Or thinking that you need to hit the ball harder than you do. Because he certainly hit that one hard again, or harder than he needed to. And certainly there are practice drills to demonstrate how hard you do not need to hit a ball to get it to move on a snooker table.
What's one drill that comes to mind for you, David, that you can tell the youngsters or the newcomers? Anything?
Take your cue ball, put it on the table with no other ball on the table, and hit it so that it drops into any pocket on the table where it drops off the cliff. So it just makes it to the pocket and drops in. And what you begin to see is you begin to see how slow you can hit a ball and make it. Once you get that feel, do straight in shots with the cue ball and one object ball, and have the object ball just drop in, so that you start to understand that you do not need to hit a ball hard to make a ball. Or you could watch Mark Williams play endless frames where he is constantly just dropping the ball in the pocket. He's a master at playing soft shots and putting together big runs. But he's well known for not hitting balls hard. I don't know that there's anyone else on the world tour that plays as softly as Williams does. But just experiment. How hard do I have to hit a ball to be effective? and then spend the time on the table practicing. And I say that as a difference of when you get to a club, people say, oh, I'm warming up, I'm practicing. Well, if you're not actually doing practice drills, then your practice is not actually practice. If you're just throwing the balls up on the table and running balls off the table, there isn't any structure or drill component to what you're doing. And so you smack six reds and the colors around the table for a while, but you haven't done any control drills. And my feeling is that you should spend 1/3 of your time doing practice drills, working on your game, and about 2/3 of the time playing matches. And if you find that kind of balance, then there's a lot more growth available for you in the game. There's my 30 seconds or a minute of getting people to understand practice versus hitting balls.
Practice makes perfect. But
Yeah.
it's tough to achieve perfection in this game, but you can get a little bit closer with a lot of good practice.
Where's the golden ball? We're not offering $500,000 for a perfect game. David, I assume you were watching the some of the snooker from Riyadh,
A little bit, yes, I was.
okay, with the golden ball. I love that they automatically doubled the perfect game up to £1 million because nobody claimed it this year.
Well, guys, could you spread the wealth a little bit?
No kidding.
The Canadian, the American, the Colombian, the Brazilian, the Cuban, the Mexican game could use some funds.
I think at the presentation ceremony, they actually also mentioned not only doubling the perfect game prize, but doubling the tournament prize. And at the same time, they announced they were opening up a Ronnie O'Sullivan Academy. So all of those things are happening in Riyadh right now.
Does this black go? Albert just having a good long look at it.
It's close. He can spin it around that red a little bit with some right hand siding. Snooker players do tend to convince themselves that shots are makeable. Oh,
Just didn't fall. Got to the cliff and didn't want to jump. Federico Papa, the final is scheduled for 4 p.m. It's in about 30 minutes time, but these matches are still on the go, so that might be a little bit later. But hopefully when we near the climax of this match, and the climax, well, it's 2-0 actually for Merhan Manashgar over Albert Lamb, and Merhan is leading 55-32 in that third frame, so Marahan could be getting into the finals soon, and then that would just mean this semifinal is the last piece of business that needs to happen before we get on to the finals a little later this afternoon. We went for it there, knowing that he's got the black sitting over the corner pocket.
I really notice a difference in Alvin's energy from when the match started to now. He's not playing with quite the same amount of bravado or energy. Pot like that might wake him up and get him going because that was a great shot.
Might have just rolled a bit too much on this red into the left middle. Ooh, ouch. That was definitely a little dangerous.
Not an easy shot to come in with here, but if he were to make it, although I guess the black ball's right in the pocket. I just noticed that again. So another safety here likely.
Oh, but he's put that over the top left corner. He's
Yeah.
given Alvin a chance. It didn't drop. Unbelievable.
You can't hit it much closer than that and not make it.
Nice little cannon into that red. Hole for that black. He's got a red by the black spot.
That might become one of the turning points in this match, depending what Albert does with this opportunity. Looks like he has one possible shot in the right middle bag, which might also provide pink or black position for him. A little risky, but that might be the shot.
Ooh,
Nicely
raise of
done.
the hand of the fluke there, as those rubs were unintentional.
Except that he was willing to take that shot. What is it? To the valiant go the rewards. There's a nice pot on the red.
Come up nicely for the blue. Yeah, Albert just needs to stay at the table. I've never seen a player win a frame or match of snooker while sitting in their chair.
It wasn't a bad carom onto that red. Again, not a gimme. It has to be always taking one on the side. Okay. So a 24-point lead, 5 reds left. So lots of points left for Alvin to catch up and move ahead. But at this point, Alvin would need that green ball on the side rail. So that's kind of the safety ball for Albert right now. This almost becomes a must make if he takes it on, because there'll be reds left all over the place.
Yeah, looking at the scoreboard, looking into his mind what he wants to do.
100% commitment to this.
Looks good. Oh, just
Ooh.
rattled out. Well, he didn't leave Albert with a gimme. Albert's going to have to work for it a little bit.
And you decided to play the safety there. Bit of an opportunity here. Black ball over the side. Alvin to make a nice pot and get back in.
Wonder if just Alvin has the angle with that red above the pink.
Don't think he can see enough of it.
Nice pot.
Okay. A little bit of adrenaline running through his body, maybe on that one. Very nicely done. Very nice. He certainly seems to have steadied himself now. He knows what he has to do.
Yeah, he's given him every effort to force a decider in this semifinal match.
Perfect position here would give him a black with opportunity to break out that red.
Ooh, but it wasn't meant to be, or is it coming
Oh, was
back?
it?
Oh,
It's a hard game. Albert's heart would have skipped a beat there.
so that break of 22 I should say, looks like it's coming to a close, but he's crawled back to just make it a 1 point difference with 35 on the table.
That's actually a nice comeback for Alvin. Having missed a few opportunities to actually come back and bring it within 1 point. Nicely done. Well, it feels there must be some paint on that red ball he can hit.
Very nicely done.
Albert does have a good skill of getting out of snookers. He hasn't missed many. And he'll get to try again.
Whew, very nicely done. Nearly hit the yellow and pink.
And got him again.
Yeah, luckily that red was able to go cannon into the blue. It slowed down all the momentum of the red, forcing the snooker.
And he got out of another one. Whoever makes this red, it's going to be a difficult run out if it's to happen. Yellow to green, green to brown, brown to blue is all out of the ordinary and tough.
Planet X15 asking if snooker is more popular than pool in Canada. I think
No.
it's. I
No,
think.
pool is by far a more popular game right now. My numbers would have it that for every pool player right now, for every snooker player right now, there are probably at least 100 pool players. And if you look at the pool leagues that are running, and there are a good number of them that run across the country, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the leagues. And that's one of the reasons pool hall owners have so many pool tables, is just because the cost of real estate for a snooker table versus a pool table. Never mind, there are so many other people that, or so many people that play one versus the other. Um, I play in two pool leagues and have the opportunity to play in one snooker league. Unfortunately, they're on the same night, and so I don't get to play as much snooker as I would like.
Sure, but I agree, Aussie. There are two completely different games. Sure, they both involve cues and balls, but size of table, thought process, strategy.
The nap of the cloth is another big one. There's nap on a snooker table. There isn't on a pool table. So when you apply siding to the cue ball reacts very differently. The weight of the balls is different. It's all very, you have to get, if you're playing both, you have to know what the differences are and adjust every time you pick up a snooker cue or a pool cue. Otherwise, it's very challenging. I will say though, for aging eyes that find it difficult to see down a 12-foot table, that pool is an easier game as you get older.
Didn't want that cannon in the brown. As he snookered himself on the green.
Yeah. And at the moment, we are all tied up.
It'll be a free ball. Shoot again or shoot from the original spot.
Mm-hmm.
Albert's got choices for his opponent.
What would you do here, Dave? He obviously felt he could see part of the green ball or enough of it.
Just kind of looking out onto the table. Water. I might take the black and try and go into the middle with the safety of getting behind the pink.
Just make sure you don't hook behind the black. Got it, I think. Of course, it would be a 7-point foul if he hooked behind the black ball. Because you can't hook behind a free ball.
And it is a snooker as referee Spence just using that tailor's pencil just to mark just in case there's a respot. In this tournament, players are allowed 4 attempts, that's 3 putbacks. It's tough to tell from our monitors if that brown cut the angle, the potting angle on the screen.
I don't think it took it away. Not why he's shooting this.
Just a little in between there. Needs brown and blue to cinch the frame and match.
He's giving it a go.
Wow,
Very
great
nice.
pot. 2-2, I don't know if he's taking that shot, but a little solid little fist pump there. He knows what's happening here.
That's that take the bull by the horns when you have the shot.
Well, the champion is going back into the final, I think, to see if he
Leave
can
it
hold on to his
right over the
title.
pocket. Either make it or leave it over the pocket. One snooker required.
Yep. Albert just has to be mindful. Don't go in off. Don't gift him the snooker and make Alvin work for it.
Of course, the closer he leaves the pink ball to any pocket, the harder it is for Alvin to get the snooker.
We'll see how that double kiss pans out. Usually it's deadly in snooker, but happy in France.
No? Yeah.
Ooh, another double kiss. And there's the handshakes
And the
right
concession.
there. So Albert Kenny is moving on to the finals to defend his championship. And that's probably going to raffle off in about 20 minutes or so. Any final thoughts on this semifinal, David?
It was actually a much closer than a 3-1 score. Um, my sense is that Albert stayed focused all the way through, took advantage of his opportunities, and deserves the win. There were a few colored balls that Alvin missed along the way that I think would have swung the match one way or the other. But overall, both players did very well, and it was a great match to watch and make comments on them. Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for those that were watching over the time of the broadcast. And good luck all the rest of the way through the tournament, Dave.
Thank you very much, David. We appreciate you having along. And so we're going to step aside while they clean and block the tables. And we'll be coming back with the final of the 2024 BC Open Snooker Championship with Albert Kenny trying to defend his title going against Merhan Manashkar. Stand by and we'll be right back with that exciting final, everybody.